We are live.
Yes.
Let's
Let's
talk
talk about
about sex,
sex, baby.
baby. Let's
Let's
talk
talk
about
about
you
you and
and
me.
me. Let's talk about all the
Lord.
good things and the bad things that may be. Let's talk about sex. Let's talk about
Yes.
sex.
Woo!
Yay! So
Excited.
I know. So welcome everybody to our Facebook Live Friday, and today we have Vivian Teresa with us. Super excited because this is the most taboo topic of
Hi.
all time in Asian culture, and she's so cool
Totally.
to share her experiences, her stories, her adventures, and many lessons that she has learned with us today. So
Yeah.
can't wait to get into it because we learn nothing from our culture in terms of sex. We watch porn, maybe not even watch porn, and then it's like, how do we learn this? And it's something that we need to kind of experience every day. So let's be candid about it and open it up. So here
Yes,
we
let's
go. Thank you
do
so much for
this.
being here, Vivian.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so grateful for this opportunity just because, I can get very tired of talking about entrepreneurship or whatever all the time. And sex is something that I really love talking about. And it's something that I rarely ever get asked to speak about on podcasts and stuff like that. And so I'm so excited to do this.
Yay! Awesome. You're so cool though to be able to
Yay!
be like open and be like,
We
okay,
gotta be.
yeah,
Yeah. Well, I
yeah.
would hope that after this session that people are more inclined to talk about sex with their friends, their
Mhm, mhm,
spouses, or their significant others, their parents even. Maybe
mhm.
maybe not, I don't know about that,
Yeah,
but
whatever they're comfortable with, but yeah,
whatever you're comfortable with,
yeah,
right? Because it should be a
absolutely.
normal topic. It should be as normal as of a topic as politics
Well, yeah, because it's
or
something that
like
we go through
business.
every day, well, or whatever your frequency is.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah,
yeah.
amazing. So yeah, let's talk about your experience, I guess. Like, when did you start having sex? Like, what was your history or stories? Like, it's all yours. The floor is open.
Oh my God. Okay. So I really wanted to lose my virginity when I was in high school.
Okay.
Like when I was 17 or when I was 16, actually.
Yeah.
I had a boyfriend and he didn't want to have sex with me, which was really sad because he,
Oh,
he felt like I wasn't the one. And
okay.
so, when you're like in high school, you're either like really horny and you just want to fuck. Am I allowed to curse?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, when you're like in high school, you have hormones raging, you're super horny, you just want to have sex. And it's like you're either that person
Hmm.
or you're the other person that wants to save sex until, you find the one or until you get married or
Yeah.
what
Hmm.
have you. And
Hmm.
so for me, I was the former, right? I was like, I want to have sex now, ASAP. I'm horny, let's do this.
Yeah.
And so unfortunately, my boyfriend didn't want to have sex with me, and so I was like, "Okay, whatever." And I actually didn't lose my virginity until I was 18,
Okay.
which I guess is
It's
fine,
okay.
but
Yeah.
a little bit late in comparison to a lot of my friends. So I kind of
Mhm.
felt ashamed about that initially.
Mm.
Um, and then when I had sex with this guy, it was kind of crazy because I was on my period. Or actually, I wasn't on my period, but he popped my cherry. And
Right.
so it, like, leaked all over his bed. I know. I'm, like, so gross right now. The
No,
first
I
time
love
I did
this.
it, it, like, leaked all over his
Yeah.
bed, and I felt so bad. I bought him
Mhm.
an entire new bed set because I just felt really
Wow.
bad for, like,
Mm.
yeah, like, bleeding all over his sheets. And then, so yeah, that's basically how my sexcapades began. I
Mm.
didn't speak to him at all for like 3 years, and then 3
Wow.
years later, I saw him at a rave
Okay.
in which he
Okay.
tried sleeping with me, but I ended up not doing it. So
Okay.
go
Right.
me, I guess. But yeah, and so that was a really painful experience, actually. Like,
Mm.
I couldn't walk straight for like 2 weeks because he was pounding me for like hours, like 4 or 5 hours, and like,
Ouch.
I was like so exhausted, and
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
got my cherry, so it hurt so bad.
Oh, so yeah, it wasn't
Um,
pleasurable at all.
no, it wasn't, but I'm really, really happy that I got it over with because,
Mm.
after that, it wasn't as bad. The
Mm.
encounters didn't feel as awkward.
Right.
And because I already popped my cherry, I didn't have to pop it again and, buy somebody a new bed set or like feel bad or whatever. But
Right.
that's
Right.
something that I feel guilty about.
Mm,
Guilty to myself or for myself,
interesting.
because
Right.
now that I look back, I'm like, no, fuck that shit. Like, he should have
Yeah.
just washed the sheets, whatever,
Right.
and I
Right.
think as a girl,
Yeah.
I felt really bad just
Mm-hmm.
because I felt very like submissive. I didn't
Yep.
know what I was doing because, I was a
Mm-hmm.
virgin right before that incident. And
Mm-hmm.
so I just didn't feel very comfortable. But
Mm-hmm.
now looking back, like definitely I would tell my kids, like, hey, if you're gonna fuck, like, you know, don't don't let somebody fuck you for 4 hours if you're like done.
No. Yeah. 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 That's not
Don't be like
healthy.
mom.
That's not healthy.
So
And
that's
have your
basically that.
parents ever gave you a talk about it?
No, well, okay. So my mom is like, she's a little bit extra to me. Like, she's always like, oh, like, she's always asking about who I'm sleeping with and all this stuff. And like, I just
Interesting.
don't tell her.
Yeah. Yeah.
My dad has never given me the pep talk.
Mm,
Yeah. So unfortunately, I don't have that connection with my parents.
right.
Um, Whereas like,
Well, most
some
Asian
of my
people
friends,
don't. I
yeah,
do, however.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
you do?
I do.
Oh my
Well,
God, that's
okay,
so
it was very
great.
interesting. And so my dad my dad gave me the talk when I was 16. And he was kind of cool, I
Oh,
have to say. He was like, you can do it. Just make sure you do it at home and on my watch.
oh
And
my
well, not
God.
on my
Oh my
watch, but like,
watch.
no, as in like he's not gonna watch me, but at
Oh,
least like he knows that I'm safe, right? Like I'm at
got it.
home
Yeah, yeah.
and
Mhm.
use protection. That's
Of
basically the
course.
talk that he gave me. Yeah, which was
Wow.
in a way pretty cool for Asian parents
Yes.
and
Yeah,
conventional
that's so
Asians.
great.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So then
And
I
I feel like
didn't
that's
feel
helpful.
guilty. Oh,
Oh,
absolutely.
okay. So did you
Yeah.
bring a lot of guys back or,
Well, I mean,
whatever?
the guys that I was in relationship with,
Mhm.
he would know, but at least I'm not
Um,
hiding from it,
right.
right? Yeah, which
Totally.
is like important.
Yeah,
Um,
that's
so
amazing.
yeah,
That's
and then
so
the protection
awesome.
talk too, like was the thing. Like, I mean, the more you try to deny it or suppress it, the more
Mhm.
you want to do it anyway. So they're gonna do it,
Mhm.
but at least
Yep.
you do it right. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Mhm.
So
Exactly.
yeah.
I will I will say, that my dad, okay, this is like, I've definitely heard my dad and my stepmom having sex before a
Yeah.
lot, and so
Uh,
has the rest of my family.
yeah.
And every time we had family parties, it'd be so embarrassing because, like, my family friends would just go into their room and play around because we're like little kids, right? I think
Right.
we're like 8 to 10 years old at this point, and they're always finding like condoms in like the
Wow.
drawer, and I'm just like, okay, whatever, And so sex was pretty normal in the
Mm,
household. It wasn't like crazy. It wasn't like, oh, you can't have sex, or oh, this
mm,
is like awkward. It's just more like, you know what to do. You are smart enough when you go have sex.
right.
But
They
I guess
don't know. Nobody ever taught us.
yeah, I guess for me, like, because I didn't lose my virginity until I was already living on my own,
Mhm,
with roommates and just outside of the house without
mhm,
adult supervision. I
mhm.
was just, because I was already an adult at that time, a very young adult, and like I was just kind of just frolicking around and
Yeah,
doing my own thing and being a little slut and experimenting and
right.
sleeping around and doing all this stuff.
Mhm, mhm.
And so I guess the talk wasn't ever really necessary because,
Mm,
I didn't find the opportunity to lose my virginity until I was 18 and out of the house. Because I've
right.
been living out of the house since I was 17. And
Yeah, I
and
see, I
now
see.
I'm almost 30. And so
Right.
it's been a long time.
Yeah.
However, I will say that I've definitely given blowjobs to my
Mhm.
ex-boyfriend before in my
Right.
home and other
Okay,
people
right.
that I spoke with. My mom did not know.
Yeah.
But like the very first time I gave a blowjob, I oh my God, guys watching this, you guys are gonna cringe. I like did it on accident. I
Ouch!
like
Ouch,
I
ouch, ouch.
well, I didn't bite it like, oh my God, I'm hungry. I want to eat a cookie or something. You know what I mean? Like I like accidentally, like I accidentally used teeth because like I didn't know what the hell I was
You
doing.
don't know what you're doing. Yeah,
So
yeah.
Yeah, and so we worked it out, you know, we, like, talked, like, he's like, "Okay, that hurts."
Right,
He
right.
he literally said okay, so you know that song Lollipop by Lil
Uh-huh,
Wayne? He
uh-huh.
literally was like he's like, "It's" she says, "Lick me like a lollipop for a fucking reason." It's
Yep,
not bite
yep,
the
that's like sure,
lollipop
really,
off,
exactly,
right?
exactly,
And
yeah.
so ever since he said that, you know, like my early years of giving blowjobs, like it's just like, okay, Lil Wayne said this. Like I
Right.
gotta make sure I like lick the lollipop.
There you go, don't bite. Or like
Yeah,
an ice cream,
exactly.
you're licking it like an ice cream.
And that's something I would tell my kids too, because I really want to be
Right.
open about sex with my children. I mean,
Mhm.
I don't want them to be like, I mean, whatever. As long as they're using protection, it's fine. And as long as they're not getting like raped or whatever, you know.
Absolutely, yeah.
Um, but yeah, like I would definitely say like, okay, you guys, just
This is how you do
turn on
it.
Lil Wayne, turn on Lollipop, and be like, this is how you suck dick.
Right, right, right. Talk
Like,
about that topic. I actually have
mhm.
a podcast that I can link later
Ooh,
on
yeah.
exactly how to give a blowjob.
Okay, well,
Um,
here, okay, let me tell you something. I'm
yeah.
not, nibbling on dick anymore. You can
Okay.
ask my boyfriend.
How do you do it?
I'm
How do
very
you
good
do
at
it?
sucking dick now.
Okay, okay.
I
Do
don't
you
know,
have
years
a
of
practice?
experience. How do I practice? Okay, so I know a lot of people. So let's get into porn a little bit, right? Like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know a lot of people like shun porn because that's
Mhm,
not how
mhm.
things are actually supposed to
In
be.
reality, yeah.
However, I mean, for me, I was watching porn since I was like, I don't know, 11, 12 years old.
Okay.
And I learned how to actually suck dick because of porn.
Okay. Okay.
Just like looking at them being all like
Right.
nasty and sloppy and all this,
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, this is how you do it.
Yeah.
And so, okay, like after the whole nibbling incident, I
Mhm.
just watched more porn. And I'm
Right.
like, okay, so I can tell like their lips or their teeth are not like, on it or whatever, on
Mhm,
the penis
mhm.
and all that. And so I learned a lot of it through porn. But honestly, like there was this like infographic or like Instagram meme or whatever the heck you call it,
Okay.
square things with words that you always see.
Yeah, yeah.
They were saying that like if the girl doesn't or if the blowjob is not good, it's because she doesn't like you.
Mm,
And I find that to be such a real statement because if I actually really like somebody, oh
yeah.
my God, I give it my all. Like I
Right.
give
Your effort is
500%.
like right, right.
Mhm. I'm like, putting my tongue in circles and going up and down the shaft and like, around the tip, very important. And just like, sucking on the balls and all that. So that's normally how I do it.
Okay, okay, okay. Do you use one hand or two hands?
It depends. I normally use one and then, but a lot of the time I actually don't use hands. hmm
Oh, okay. So all lips,
I usually use the hands to like massage the balls,
yeah, yeah.
like massage the balls and then I'll nibble on it without teeth,
Mhm.
obviously.
Yeah, 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 you learned the lesson.
And then I suck the dick at the same time. Mhm.
Mm, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Mhm.
And
And
I
then
guess
obviously
everyone is different too, right? In
everyone's
what they
different.
like. Yeah,
Depends on what they like. Like
yeah.
like some guys that, I've sucked off, like they actually don't like the tip being
Right. If
touched.
they're
They
too
just
sensitive or whatever, then you just have to adapt
yeah,
to the person.
or they don't
Yeah,
like hands, or they
yeah,
like a lot of hands, or
yeah.
and and some guys like hand jobs more. It's like, I don't know.
Mm,
And
so you just
so
have to figure it out. Yeah.
and then some guys like spitting and some don't like spitting at all. Like some like it
Right.
really nasty and sloppy, others
Mm,
don't. I'm adaptable in that sense. I can go either
yeah,
way. It doesn't matter to me.
absolutely. And I guess
'Cause
it's
it's
been
about pleasuring the guy, right? It's about service.
right, but also them pleasuring you back, right?
Oh,
There's a
hell
narrative
yeah.
like of Asian
Oh,
women
fuck yeah,
sometimes like, oh, we're here to like please them, but hey, this is a mutual thing.
that's
Yeah,
mutual.
it has to be
Exactly.
mutual. Just to like tell the women out there that no, 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 this is not a one-way street, it's a two-way street.
It's not a one-way street. And let me
Yeah.
tell you, I fucking hate when guys are like, I don't eat girls out. Like, fuck that shit.
Right, but
Like,
why do they expect us to do it for them?
exactly.
Yeah,
And that's misogyny right there, for
yeah,
sure.
Absolutely.
That's
And
misogyny. That's
for
unfortunately
sure,
ingrained in our culture still to this day. It's
yeah.
getting better. It's getting a
Mhm,
lot better. You know,
mhm,
there's a whole like dominatrix world out there,
yeah.
uh, where women are, you know, physically, sexually abusing men for
Mm,
money and stuff like that, which I think is a really cool industry.
mhm.
Uh, but you know, like the thing is that it has to be a two-way street because that's how you
100%.
build chemistry.
Yeah.
And my ex, oh my God, one of my ex-boyfriends, he did not ever want to go down on me, and it was really sad.
Mm.
And that's why the relationship was trash.
But it's true though. Sex is honestly like a big part of your
Yeah.
relationship, right? That's why we're talking about it. So
Mhm.
my Mimi here says consensual abuse.
Sexual abuse. Exactly. I love that. That's actually perfect. You know,
Well, if you both are into it, then why not, right?
well, it's all about consent at the end of the
At
day.
the
When
end
it
of the
comes
day.
to anything and everything, sex
Mhm.
related, relationship, anything related, it's all
Yeah.
about consent. And that word consent in particular is becoming a lot more normalized. It should have been normalized from the get-go,
Mhm.
but you know, it's becoming a lot more normalized because you should ask for permission if you're trying to do something to
To
somebody.
each other. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
That's
And if
a
it's
lot
not
of
comfortable, speak up. But we're like,
yes,
I mean, a lot of us are
the
trained not
receiver,
to. Mhm.
as the receiver, it is also your equal responsibility to speak the fuck up if you do not like it.
Yes, and it's okay
Because
not to hurt
yes,
their
and it's
ego.
yeah, fuck their ego. It's
Well,
not
and
about them. It's about
actually,
you.
my question is, so how do we do it in a way that both of you feel comfortable, right? Like the men in the audience tell us, it's like,
That's
how do you want
hard.
us to tell you? Like
So
without
hard,
hurting your
right?
ego or my ego or whatever, right? Because if we're
Mm,
both mature enough to say, okay, we're just learning about each other's bodies so that we can both be pleasured, I think that's cool.
mhm.
But
Right.
sometimes it's like this is a very sensitive thing, right?
Yeah.
And it's intimate, it's vulnerable. But
Mhm.
when you're like telling that person, oh, you're not doing it right, then they might get hurt. But I think you need to almost have a conversation before you do it to say, hey, this is me
Yes.
just telling you what to do so that we can do it better.
That's so important. Oh my gosh. I cannot stress how important that is. And I cannot
Yeah.
stress. It's embarrassing that I'm admitting that I haven't gotten to the practice of actually having that conversation
Yeah.
beforehand,
Yeah.
maybe until like this year, seriously. Like it
Mm.
wasn't until this
And
year
we're
where I
all
was like,
learning. We're all
I don't
learning.
like it, or can, hey, I don't
Yeah.
like it. Can you go a little softer, or can you not
Right.
be as aggressive, or
Right.
can you be more aggressive? Can you pull my hair real quick? You know, like,
Yeah. 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 Like tell them
because
what to do. Guide
everybody,
them.
yeah, exactly. You guide them. And I think
Yeah.
somebody said that in the comments is, you know, you're supposed to guide each other, right?
Yeah.
That's
Mhm.
how sex works. Sex is
Mhm.
communication, but with your
Mhm.
body. And
Yes.
so with that being said, you also have the you and your receiving end or ends, right?
Mhm.
It's important to express what you like, and it's important for them to tell you what they like,
Yeah.
because if you don't do it and if they don't do it, it's not going to be good sex.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if you're gonna have sex, it better be fucking good, right?
I
And
know. I know.
let me tell you, I've been through a handful of really good sex sessions and really fucking shitty ones. And unfortunately, I feel like I've had more bad ones than good ones.
And now how do you
You
define if
know?
something is good or bad?
Well, first of all, I need to orgasm. And that's
Okay.
like, okay, if I can orgasm, then at the least it was okay.
Right. It's just okay. Then what puts it to the good category or amazing category?
Good, then there's just a lot of sexual chemistry.
Mhm.
So the biggest thing for me personally is foreplay. I think
Yep.
foreplay is extremely, extremely important, and I
Yep.
cannot stress
For
that
most
enough.
women, I would say, right? Right, women?
We gotta get wet. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
like, we can't just get wet on the fly. Like, you have to finger us or like, you know, eat us out and like make us
Yeah.
super horny.
Yeah.
You know, like
And it's also
I
the emotional intimacy too, right?
yes, it's the emotional intimacy for sure. That makes
Yeah.
you wet, right? And so the thing
Yeah.
is that it's really difficult to have dry sex. I have had dry sex before.
It hurts.
But oh my God. So I want to bring up a conversation, or I want to bring up a story that I went through. And I think it's very, very correlated to this whole submissive Asian stereotype thing. Okay. So after my ex and I broke up, I was at a Starbucks and I was having a business meeting there with my business partner. And then she went to the bathroom.
Okay.
And then this guy, I'm going to call him Chad because he is a fucking Chad. Fucking Chad, who is like the director of sales at a big financial corporation out here in New York City.
Okay.
Fucking white, right? This fucking Chad like hits on me. And of course, because I just broke up with my ex, I was like, ooh, he's like super hot and whatever. I'm down to have sex with him. And then when we hooked up, it wasn't even good, like at all. He had to he had to have his own saliva like down there for me to actually get wet. And the reason why is because I realized he was trying to he was trying to abuse me in a way in bed where I am less than him because he's white and he's a male in finance.
Oh my God.
He's my God. And for all of you that are listening, this is a prime example that fucking Chad is not the guy that you think he is.
Yeah.
He is, well, okay, I lied. He is the fucking guy that you think he is, which is why you should not be with him. A lot of the time, because we're this model minority category, Asians are this model minority category. A lot of what some of our parents may think is like, oh, you have to marry the Chad. This Chad makes more money. This fool is probably making like, I don't know, 500K or some crazy shit like that.
Right.
And, in a picture perfect world or whatever the fuck you want to call it, he's, the perfect husband or whatever. And he definitely was not. And so I learned from that experience and I was like, okay, I'm never dating a Chad again. He actually texted me the other day and he was like, oh, let's hang out and all this stuff. And I was like, oh, dude, I have a boyfriend now. And on top of that, I don't really like the way that you treat women. I think you treat them like shit. Yeah. And I put them in their fucking place. And that's the other thing for you guys. You guys gotta put them in their place. Because if you don't put them in their place, they're just gonna keep going off and doing that. I mean, he still probably is. But the more women that are able to stand up for themselves against these fucking Chads, the more that they're going to become aware of their nuances.
Yes. That's definitely not okay. Yep. And Mimi, you were saying, non-consensual race play and degradation, not okay. Absolutely.
Not okay. Yeah. Non-consensual anything is not okay.
Right. And degrading us, absolutely not okay at all. And not playing into that whole narrative ourselves. A lot of times we believe that. And it's like, wait a second. No, we are worthy without being whatever race that we are, just as we are. Right. And we can be pleasured just because you're a woman doesn't mean that we have to just serve the men. Right.
Exactly. And that goes for all parties too, right? It's like not just women and men, but like, whatever,
like whichever orientation, absolutely. Yeah.
It's all about consent, right? Like
at the end of the day.
Last year I hooked up with this guy and he was eating me out and he was like so high. Well, we were both really high.
Right. Yeah.
A ton of weed. And like he was like freaking like sucking my clit like way too hard and it got swollen the next day. And I kept stop, but he was so high, he kept doing it, And so I had to like kick him.
to tell him to stop. Oh, Jacqueline is here. Hi, Jacqueline.
Hi, sis. Thank you so much for joining.
There's a lot of people joining. It's great.
Yes. Hold
Lots
on.
of conversations here.
Samuel says it's also vulnerable for men to ask consent and potentially rejection, and women to say no and risk being attacked. Yes,
that's exactly
100%. Yeah, look, I feel for the guys too. I'm not just shitting on guys over here,
No,
you know,
for sure, for
even
sure.
though it kind of seemed like that for a little bit.
Yeah. But it's both ways. Yeah.
It's the same thing with guys. So let me actually, if you don't mind me shifting the topic a little bit,
Absolutely. Yeah.
let me actually go into an experience that I had when
Mhm.
I was doing amateur porn for a little bit.
Yeah.
And so, you know, in that industry, if you're doing amateur porn, you're obviously selling your videos and
Yeah.
your photos or your nudes or whatever
Yeah.
on the internet
Mhm.
to guys.
Right.
And my boyfriend actually pointed this out because he was like, I don't like that you did this to men and stuff like that. And I didn't
Mhm.
really think about it like that, right? And
Right.
so the thing is like these guys have very low self-esteem and
Mm.
they feel like they have to buy shit so
Right.
that they can get off and like
Yeah.
fantasize something that they feel like they can't have
Right.
because that's what that industry portrays. That's how
Mhm.
that industry makes money is
Mhm.
off of fucking with guys' mental health, basically.
Mm.
And I didn't think about it like that, you know.
Yeah.
In my head I was like, whatever, it's cool.
Yeah.
Until
Right.
my boyfriend brought it up with me, and that's something that I really
Mm.
am thankful about. I don't even know if he's watching right now. He's probably like, "Oh wow, you never told me this, babe." But yeah, like I'm really thankful for realizing that because it is a mental health crisis that we are, you know, seeing,
Yeah.
and that particular crisis in men is
Mm.
not something that is normalized in conversation because
Mm.
men feel like they have to be quiet about their femininity or whatever.
Yeah.
And I personally feel like that's bogus, like that's like
Mhm.
such
Mhm.
trash. And so for me right now, I'm kind of like, you know, struggling with okay, like I like ruined all these guys' lives or something because they bought all my nudes or they bought my
Mm.
porno or whatever, you know, and like but with me actually in particular, so okay, let me backtrack real quick because I'm starting to ramble. In this particular industry, I have noticed that women have a huge advantage and they take advantage of a lot of these guys that are paying for the photos and videos.
Mhm. Mhm.
I personally felt really bad about that. And so for
Mm.
me, I am working to be a health and confidence coach. Um,
Mm.
and so before that, with all of my customers, I was like very communicative with them. Like I always talked to them about their issues,
Oh,
whatever they
wow.
were going through, family death,
Mm.
whatever, because I wanted to be like their friend, you know, and because
Oh, that's
they're
nice.
supporting me, they're like throwing money at me
Yeah.
for my work. And
Right.
so for me, I was like, oh, I need to like, you know, help them out in some way. But it
Mhm.
didn't feel forced. Like they're all really fucking nice people, you know.
Yeah.
They're not losers. Like we're all human beings and we're
At
all
the end
just
of the
trying to
day.
live up in this shit together. And
Mm.
so that's a whole different ballpark.
Yeah.
But you know, in regards to the discrepancies of the porn industry,
Mhm.
it
Mhm.
does fuck with ego a lot, you
Right.
know. And a lot of the women that that were my colleagues in that space, they were very insecure as well. And don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, you know, we all have our own insecurities, but
Mhm. Mhm.
you know, we're all just trying to like look a particular way, make
Yeah.
sure that
And
we
perform a certain way.
yeah, like make
Mhm.
sure that we look like a typical porn star or whatever
Right.
the heck you want to call it. And there's so much there's so much mental health discrepancies that go along with that industry in general.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I think that's something that a lot of us overlook, you know,
That's
and a
true.
lot of us even look down on porn. Well, actually, to backtrack even further, in Asian culture, unless it's like freaking hentai, like tentacle porn, you know, or whatever, it's porn is very looked down upon. It's very frowned down upon.
Mhm. Mhm.
Like if your family members or if your parents knew that you did porn, then they're gonna be like, the fuck, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And that's something that is also very upsetting because it's like,
Mhm.
okay, like we're just trying to like, you know, make money
Make a
here and
living. Yeah.
then on top of that, it's an industry that's frowned down upon because it's so taboo. It's not looked it doesn't it's not looked at by the populace
Mhm.
as a normal job, if that makes sense.
Right.
Like
Right.
it is a normal job. Like there are people that are actually very, very passionate
Mhm.
about
Mhm.
having sex and they're really passionate about porn.
Yeah.
Like, I went to a sex convention last year to promote
Okay.
my name and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And by the way, I have an alias. If you look at Vivian Teresa, you are not going to find my nudes. So, FYI, you guys. But when I went to this convention, people were like really, really about it.
Mhm.
And it was really inspiring to see because they're actually very passionate about having sex. They're passionate about the human interconnection when it comes to sex.
Mhm.
And those are the porn stars that I feel like thrive because they're
Right.
living with passion.
Yeah.
Yet
Like
we still
anything you
live
do in life, if you do it with passion, you do it well.
yeah, but we still live in a society today where that industry is frowned down upon. And
Mhm.
I personally don't like that.
Of course.
I think it should be a normal industry. I
Mhm.
mean, in the Netherlands, you know, prostitution is legal.
Yeah.
It's actually very legal in a lot of states.
Mhm.
Or not a lot of states, sorry, a lot of countries.
Yeah.
And that's great in my opinion, because if people actually want to pursue that as a career, then of course, you know,
Sure
but
they can.
we have to stop looking at porn as this like shitty ass kind of occupation that we're
Mhm.
just doing to make a couple bucks here and there.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, like when I did it, when my friend had me doing it, I was like, oh my God, what the fuck am I
Yeah.
getting into?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. How
Really
would that feel?
fun, you know? I was like,
Yeah.
this is fun. And granted, like, you know, it's definitely not something that I would probably go back into.
Mhm. Mhm.
Eventually, I want to get back into like, you know, cosplay and all that stuff. But in regards to the actual porn industry, I'm just not like passionate enough about having sex anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really love having sex with my boyfriend. It's really
Mhm.
great,
Mhm.
and we have really
Mhm.
good sex. But the thing is that like it like I just like the fact that I couldn't choose. I mean, you can choose what dick you have sex with, but a lot of the time, you know, these porn stars, they're going in and they're acting, which
Yeah.
means you
That's
can't
the
really
thing. Are they actually
you can't
enjoying the
pick the
experience?
dick or vagina that they're having sex with.
Mhm.
Because like if you look at some porn, you can tell it hurts.
They're not I
It
know, I
hurts,
know. It's not fun at
you
all.
know?
Mhm.
So it has to be like crafted in a way where it's consensual for everybody, you
Yeah.
know? And shit, like if somebody told me that I can just record myself having sex with somebody and, you know, just make a shit ton of money, like
Right.
I'm just waiting for that day where it's normalized. So we can all just do it.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. That's interesting. Okay, so I'm just gonna
Okay, sorry, I'm talking way too much about it, but
no,
yeah.
it's great. It's great. Yeah, well, there's so much great information here because, like, to see from the sides of like, someone who has done porn, and that's a complete different narrative of what we see,
Mhm.
right? So really appreciate your perspective as well. And so, in terms of like, because okay, so the discrepancy between porn and reality, right?
Yeah.
It's like that's missing the emotional intimacy part, which most women crave in
Mhm.
actually enjoying the experience and actually orgasming or
Right.
coming or whatever. And so, in your experience, how did you? Because okay, first of all, not every woman can have vaginal orgasm. Let me just say that,
Mhm.
like
Yes.
biologically, and there are
Yep.
so many factors that come into play in how you
Yep.
can eventually have it, right? Um,
Mhm.
so, how did you come to figure it out? You know what I mean? Like that's the thing. Clearly,
So
I have. That's why
embarrassing. Okay.
I'm like on the other spectrum where I can't. So trying to
Yeah.
practice here.
So the thing is like with orgasming, at least from my personal experience, like you have to really experiment, right? Like you have to like so for me personally, I don't like to finger myself. Yes, I know people are probably like, "Oh my God, this bitch is crazy."
Well, I
But
don't either.
yeah, right. I do use toys.
Okay. Yeah.
So for me, I actually, you know, I come a lot faster when I'm like, you know, putting the toy against my clit.
Oh, I see. Okay. Like
Uh-huh.
while you're having sex.
Yeah, and okay, so this is really embarrassing and I'm totally gonna share it. So
I love it.
I've been masturbating since I was 5 years old.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
I
Okay.
didn't know I didn't know that's what it was called though. You know what I mean? Like
Right. Right.
I don't know if you used to watch like Power Rangers, but I was like I thought like Tommy from Power Rangers was like the hottest
Okay.
fucking person on this planet when I was 5.
Okay. Okay. That's
And
whatever. Yeah.
and I like I had a blanket every time I went to sleep, and I would just like rub my blanket against like my vagina, like against my
Yeah.
clit when I was
Right.
fucking 5, okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
And like, and then, I was like, oh my God, I don't know what this is, but it feels really good.
Good.
And so I
Yeah.
kept doing it,
Mhm.
and I was doing that blanket thing, that blanket masturbation thing
Yeah.
until I was like, I don't know, maybe like 18, 19,
Right.
20, something
Right.
like
Yeah.
that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And before I started playing with toys, right? And
Mhm.
before I started actually having sex with people.
Yeah.
Um, so for me, it was surrendering to what feels good.
Mm.
And I think a lot of the time, like we get kind of stressed out, like thinking about, okay, what actually makes me feel good? But
Yeah.
when you actually just like chill out about it and you
Right.
like experiment with yourself,
Mhm.
that's when you know
Yeah.
how you can orgasm the fastest, right? And like,
Right.
so
And
in
sometimes
regards to
it doesn't have
sexual,
to be fast,
mhm, yeah, yeah,
right?
it can happen really fast, yeah, or it
Well,
can't.
mine is like having the control.
Yeah.
It's like you
Well,
can
let
do
me
it
tell
fast
you,
or slow depending on yeah.
I come way faster with toys with like my vibrators than I do with
Yeah.
like dick because it's just
It was
faster,
designed to.
like
Yeah,
it's
it's designed
well,
to
because it's
do that for
vibrating,
you.
so it's
Yeah.
doing things like 500 times faster than a fucking
That's good.
penis would, and
Yeah.
that's okay. And I
Right.
have, oh my God, I remember I slept with this guy. I will not disclose his name in case he's watching because he might be.
Okay.
So sorry for ripping on you. But he was like so insecure. He was
Yeah.
like, "How the fuck am I supposed to compete with your vibrator?" And I'm like, "No, like this is not
That's funny.
you and my fucking vibrator. Like I love having sex with you.
Mhm.
It's just like you just can't think that way. Like if you think that way,
Right.
like so
Right.
let me
It's a
just say this right
tool
now.
to help.
That way. It's a
Yeah.
tool. It is
Yeah.
a tool,
Right? To pleasure each
and
other. Yeah, it's
it
not
is
a competition.
totally exactly, Mimi. It's not a
Yeah.
competition.
Yeah.
Yo, some
They're for
people
different things.
think it's
That's
a
right.
competition. It's not.
Yeah.
And we need to like kind of like normalize sex
Mhm.
toys as like
Yeah.
it's not a competition.
It's
They're two
part of
different
the
things.
experience.
Exactly. What Mimi said, she's like spot on. It's
Yeah.
for two different purposes. Well, no, it's for the same purpose, but it's with when you're actually having sex with somebody, it could
Yeah.
be more intimate.
Right.
Whereas when I'm using my vibrator, so let me share some of my
Really
toys.
just for pleasure. Yeah.
My
Yeah,
friend
yeah.
bought me this for
Okay.
my shoots. I don't
Okay.
like using an actual. I use this actually. And
Oh,
yes, it's not like a fucking rabbit or a 4-prong thing that other people are using.
okay.
But it's just a quick little vibrator. It's called One Plus. I bought it at
Okay.
Target for like $20. You can also buy it on Amazon, and
Yeah.
it has 10 different modes. Can you hear it? I don't know if you hear it.
Not really.
Yeah, you
No.
can't hear it. You might not be able to hear it, but there's like 10 different modes, and
Mhm.
I click through my favorite modes, and
10 different
this is
modes.
like,
Wow.
well, this is when I want to go to bed and I can't sleep. But
Mhm.
I do this and then I think about my boyfriend and then it's all good. And then I come and that's it.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
No, but sometimes like I'll go on a streak. Like I'll be like, okay, I came 6 times. Like let me go for another like 5 or 6. And then
Wow.
it depends on my mood. Like sometimes
Yeah.
I'm like, oh shit, I have a sales presentation tomorrow for work. Like I'll just like come like 3 times or something. And
Right.
so but, like when it comes to toys, like yeah, it's everybody uses it for a different purpose. I highly recommend that you get toys if you guys do not have toys already,
Right.
to see if it will work out for you. Like I said, this shit was like 10, $20. So
Wow,
at
that's
least,
oh,
yeah, it's super cheap and it's rechargeable and it's waterproof.
yeah.
So, and I
Interesting.
clean it every night because I use
Yeah,
it all
yeah.
the time.
Okay. Okay.
And you could just clean it with soap and water.
Okay, so it's simple and
And then you
small,
charge
easy
it
to
like
travel with.
charge it right here.
I see. Right, 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 right.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, okay, Howie here says, the girlfriend recommend the Sona 2 AirPods. It's a game changer. Okay, so we're like, put down
Yeah.
your recommendation, people.
Yeah. Oh my God. I love that we're doing this. I love
I know
talking
it's
about this.
amazing. It's
I
great to
feel like,
open up the conversation, honestly.
yeah, I feel like my responses are still too prude though. You know what I mean? Like we can get a little bit deeper.
No, it's great. But okay, my question is, okay, so then because I want to go back to like the how do you have a vaginal orgasm? Because
Oh,
that's
okay.
so natural, right?
Yes. So here's the thing. Not everybody can orgasm.
That's the
You know,
thing.
it could be very biological.
Yeah.
And, some guys have erectile dysfunction. Like it is,
Mhm.
it's a thing and that's okay.
Yeah.
But that's where you should definitely go see a doctor for sure.
Okay.
And don't be ashamed about seeing a doctor
Right.
because this
Right.
doctor is going to tell you what's up.
Mhm.
Um, and okay, this is really one of my clients. He actually sells this like shot that helps stimulate the penis a lot longer. I'm assuming this is for older men, and
Right.
also have a shot that helps with orgasms for women.
Okay.
And so you can like do stuff like that, get a consultation,
Mhm.
because it could very well be a medical issue. But the thing is that you don't have to feel ashamed about going to the doctor to figure it out because
Yeah.
you got to take accountability for your body. And a
Mhm.
lot of the time, it could be very biological that you can't orgasm, or
Yeah.
if you have ED, like it's totally okay.
Yeah. Like
You
Mimi said, it's more normal not to have
uh,
vaginal orgasms. Yeah. And
yeah,
to
it's a
actually tell the
lot.
men that it's actually not always normal, because sometimes I feel like they thought all women can have vaginal orgasm. Maybe they're faking it. Just saying. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah,
like
I
when we
definitely
all
think
understand this is not normal, then we don't have that pressure for each other.
yeah,
And then they know what to do, or maybe kind of touch the clit, or and do
it's
that instead.
hard. Yeah, and that's the other thing too. You just have to experiment, like
Yeah,
to hit the jackpot right away is, yeah, it happens, but it's
it's
unrealistic to
rare.
have that
Mhm.
expectation every
Yeah,
time you have sex. It's
right.
okay, you know what I mean? Like, and I think a lot of the time, and I'm very guilty of this. Like, I used to be so upset whenever I didn't orgasm. I still kind of am
Mhm.
sometimes.
Yeah, 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 me too.
But now I'm getting a lot more like I'm a lot
Yeah,
more like chill about it. Like it's not the end of the fucking world. If I didn't orgasm, like I have
right.
this,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
cool.
you can
No
finish it
big
off
deal.
yourself.
Um,
Yeah.
and I think so that's the thing too. I think the media has portrayed us to want to have this sexual fantasy all
Mhm.
the fucking time, every time we
Yeah,
hook up with somebody. And
right.
that is not realistic. You
That's
know,
right.
it's okay to like not have like a fucking
10 out
amazing
of 10. Yeah,
unicorn sex or
that's
whatever
right.
all the time.
Yeah.
It's not like it's totally fine.
Just like
And
life is never linear. It's like up and down. That's part of it.
exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the principles with sex, like you can apply that to everyday life.
Mhm.
There's always going to be ups and downs. It's never perfect,
Yeah.
but
Mhm.
you run with it.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, I think like that pressure, because like I dated a guy who gave me a lot of pressure, because it's like I felt like if I wasn't a 10 out of 10 every single time, then I'm doing something wrong. Or that he felt like less than a
Uh,
man because he wasn't able to like pleasure me from a 10 out of 10. But it's like, but human life and emotion doesn't work that way.
it doesn't work that way, and
Yeah.
we have to normalize that we have to normalize that part of the conversation,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm. Yeah,
Even
absolutely.
like before, okay, let's say you're hooking up with somebody brand new.
Yeah.
You should literally be like, look, it's as much as we both want to orgasm, let's
Mhm.
let's just hang out, and if it happens, it happens, and if it
Yeah.
doesn't, like it's cool. Because
Pressure.
then
Yeah.
because then that takes off all the pressure
Yeah.
on both parties, and then
Mhm.
you probably will have a higher chance of orgasming
Yeah, it's
once
true.
you're like chill the fuck out. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. Yeah,
so
when it's not so outcome based, it's like, no, I have to like,
but that's also
get to
why
that point.
foreplay is really important because foreplay kind of like ramps you up, like
Mhm, mhm.
foreplay is what really gets you to that point where
Yeah,
you have a lot more intimacy when, you're having sex. And
right.
so I think foreplay is extremely important.
Yeah.
And it's very necessary. I know a lot of people do quickies and stuff like that, but like for me personally, I'd rather not do a quickie And
Mm,
I'd rather just wait until we both have time to
yeah, yeah.
have intimacy, you
Mhm.
know? Like, I feel like quickies are, I mean, a lot of people like it, and that's fine. But for me personally, like, I would just rather do some other shit.
Yeah, sure, for sure. I love that. The comment section, it's like going crazy, and I love this. And so Howie
I
was saying,
know.
yeah, so Howie said a lot of men think it's a challenge to get her to orgasm vaginally, then everybody loses. Right. Because it's
Mhm.
like if the person cannot do it, then both sides feel like a failure, but sometimes it's biological, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sometimes
exactly.
it's biological and okay, so I'm about to get hippie woo woo on a motherfucker right now. So let me tell you something.
Okay.
Not everybody is meant to have sexual chemistry with each other, okay?
There you go. Yeah.
Like there's a lot of things when it comes to compatibility. Do
Mhm.
not force it with a person if you're not feeling it the first couple times around.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like not everybody is meant to have perfect sex all the time.
Yeah.
Like, and to Howie's point, a lot of men feel pressure too, as well, right? It might not even be the right girl. Because let me tell
Mhm.
you something. I had an ex, and in I guess the stereotypical world, he
Mhm.
had a quote unquote nice penis or whatever the fuck you want to call it, whatever the
Okay.
fuck nice penis even means.
Yeah, exactly.
And our sex was terrible. And he never actually came with me. But
Oh, okay, okay.
somebody now he's with somebody that he really loves, and we're still friends, and
That's
he's
cool.
with somebody that he really loves and cares about, and they fucking orgasm all the time,
Right,
which
right.
shows that there's a lot of compatibility
Mhm.
reasonings when it comes to having sex with somebody.
Yeah.
You are not compatible in that sense.
Mhm.
Your sex is probably gonna fucking suck,
Right.
you
Well,
know?
and sometimes it takes time too, and
Mhm,
patience for both parties to figure out their bodies, especially
mhm.
if there's not a lot of experience or education around it, then
Yeah.
it's like, okay, you gotta test it out. So it's like instead of writing off people right away, it's sometimes you do have to kind
Mhm.
of like have that dance with each
Yeah,
other and then see if you're truly
exactly.
compatible.
Mhm. And that's where communication comes in, right? Is like, "I like this, I don't like this."
Right,
And then you have to think to yourself, "Do I actually have feelings for this person?
right.
Is it even worth it for me to continue to have sex with this person?"
Mhm, mhm.
And that's a big thing too, right?
Yeah.
'Cause and it shows when you actually have sex. If you're trying
Mm,
harder, if you're being more communicative, then you're actually trying to make it work.
yeah.
Sex and without sex. Like sex and your normal, relationship with that person.
That's why it spill over to every area of your life, like how your sex life is, and it translates into the health of your relationship, right? It's how you
Yeah.
communicate with your bodies, what's pleasurable, what's not. Are you able to say no and stop and all of those things, which is like
Yeah.
so hard to be honest with you, like with me. And okay, the condom conversation as well, right?
Mm,
Sometimes if they don't want to use it, then you're like,
no.
okay,
You
fine,
have to
I
fucking
will not use it then. But you're like, okay, use
yeah.
it please, you know?
I have so that's the thing. Guys, you need to stop fucking doing that shit. You know why? Because if for whatever reason, I don't care how fucking strong your pullout game is, okay? And yeah, don't get me wrong. I have dated guys, I have slept with guys where, we did not use a condom
Right.
and it was fine. However, I highly do not recommend it because I actually got a fucking STD. And
Oh,
yeah, well, I don't have it anymore
right,
because
right, right.
I get antibiotics for it. It's called ureaplasma. And so I got an STD because after my ex and I broke up, I was like hooking up with all these. I think I hooked up with like 7 dudes in a week or something. It was
Oh,
crazy.
wow. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
I was getting busy because sex with my ex was fucking terrible, and so I was like, oh my god, I got to go have sex with like the universe now, right? And then I don't know who gave it to me,
Mhm.
but I made the decision to get checked, obviously.
Yeah.
And because, I was having like discharge and all this like crazy shit
Mm,
happening to my vagina. And I'm just gonna be straight out about it. Guys need to hear this shit. They
yeah.
need to understand that this is a part of the women's body.
Mhm.
And that type of conversation needs to be normalized as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, all this like nasty ass shit was coming out of my vagina, right? And so I was like, okay, I need to go get checked. And then turns out I had this thing called ureaplasma, which used to just be a UTI. It used to be classified as a UTI, but now it's actually an STD because they just discovered that it can be sexually transmitted. And so the person that I was having sex with the most at the time, I made him go get checked and I made everybody else go get checked.
Yeah.
All those 7 dudes, I'm like, y'all need to get checked because I got this. I don't fucking know who I got it from, but that's that.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing too. If you have it, please tell all your partners that you have it. And don't be ashamed. Be responsible. Do not be ashamed. But to mitigate that issue, please use a fucking condom. And here's the thing too. A lot of women do not want to have the condom because they think the guy should always have the condom. And while I think that is fucking true, what if his ass doesn't have a fucking condom? And what if you don't have a condom?
Yeah.
That means, so I always have a box of condoms. I highly recommend this brand, you guys. It's called Skin. If you have not used it yet, I would definitely use it. So let me just go ahead and zoom in here. And so this is the elite kind, which is the ultra thin and ultra soft kind. I got a 36 pack. You know your girl does not play. And it's polyisoprene. And my boyfriend loves it. He was using like Durex before, and honestly, Durex, not to rip on you guys, but Durex is fucking trash. Use this. You will thank me later. And this is good for people that are allergic to latex because I'm actually allergic to latex. Yeah. So when I was initially having sex using like Trojan and Durex, like my vagina was like flaring up like crazy. And so now I only use this. And honestly, this feels so freaking good. Like,
is it the best one?
You can't even.
You can't feel it.
Honestly, like you could barely feel it. I personally don't feel it.
Okay.
I mean, it's also because I'm really wet normally too. But this also helps with, like, the lubrication. So this is
because it has a layer of lubrication on top, or
I don't know. Should I open it up?
There you want to.
I think it does have some. I think it does have some lubrication. I don't know. But yeah, this is what it looks like, you guys. It's like, and so fancy.
Get it at like a normal drugstore? It's not expensive.
Yeah, I think I bought it at a drugstore.
Okay.
Oh, I bought it at Target. Yeah, they have it.
Okay. Yeah, we don't know in Canada where we have it, but
well, they probably have it on Amazon too.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's good to know.
So my boyfriend and I always laugh when we have sex because like every time he finishes, like, he whips his dick out and like the condom gets stuck in my vagina. It gets like stuck in there.
You have to like go in there and fish it out.
I've never done this like without. Okay, yeah, it's actually lubed up because I can feel it now.
So yeah.
No, it's like, well, no, this is good though. But yeah,
it looks thin.
It's very thin. It's ultra thin. It's very good. Amazing. It hasn't broken on us. Thank the Lord, because we are not ready to have children yet. But yeah.
No, thank you. This is a good conversation because a lot of the guys were like, well, I don't need to use a condom because you're not going to get pregnant, right? We just pull out. But it's actually about the STDs. It's not just about pregnancy.
No, it's not just about pregnancy. It's about the STDs. Okay. And like, let me tell y'all, like, I was like, I had, I was scared of getting herpes, in which I actually might have HSV1 because I had a cold sore the other week or whatever. And here's the thing too. I want to also talk about that, right? Yeah. Herpes, 90% of the world, they have herpes, which means it's normal to have fucking herpes. So if you fucking have herpes, like, don't freak out.
Don't feel shame. Yeah.
Don't feel ashamed. You know what I mean? Like, because I'm pretty sure you fucking have it. 90%, 9 out of 10 people have herpes. That's crazy, right? And the thing is that, like, and people feel so like ashamed to have it or whatever. And I honestly felt so nervous, but fortunately, I have amazing girlfriends that are like, it's okay, like it's so normal. And now I'm spreading that knowledge and that comfort. With people that have shared with me that they have herpes. I don't think I have HSV too, but I definitely think I have one. And so that's the other thing too that I realized. The only way that you can get herpes simplex virus 1,
Yeah.
is if you get cold sores. Well, I mean, if you get cold sores, sorry, this is backwards. If you get cold sores, the only way that you can get cold sores on your is have herpes or is through herpes. Therefore, if you have cold sores, then you have herpes. So with that being said, I realized I was getting tested negative for herpes like all the time. Because girl, I used to get tested like 4 times a month because I was like sleeping around with like the universe, you know?
Yeah. So health is the most important. Yeah.
Yeah, and I got tested negative each time, which means that, you know, there are a lot of false positives, there are a lot of false negatives. And so you might as well just, you know, live with the fact that you might have it.
You might have it because 90% of, well, actually, I did have conversations and a lot of people said the same thing as well.
It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I have like a lot of friends that have it, and it's fine.
Yeah.
You know, like the only shitty part is the cold sores because like, oh my God, I couldn't like smile for like a whole week or like talk and be happy. And oh God, that was like
we've talked about so much stuff. I know, which is so amazing, very informative because I think we all need to know. And so what are the 3 like lessons that you learned that you want everyone to know? Like the 3 top lessons.
Oh,
it's hard.
That's so hard. Okay, so definitely don't feel bad about not feeling good. Don't feel bad about not feeling good when it comes to having sex. If somebody is doing something that you don't like, guy or girl, okay? This is not a sexist thing.
Yeah.
This goes for everybody.
Yeah.
Speak the fuck up. Because you owe it to yourself. This is self-care talk, okay? Now you can fucking eat healthy food and you can, you know, have like facials, that's what she said, and all this shit. But if you are not cognizant about the way that you feel in bed, if you do not feel good in bed, speak the fuck up then and there. Be like, this doesn't feel good. Can we try something else? If they keep doing it, then they're a fucking shitty ass partner and you need to stop having sex with them. You need to be adamant about stopping it then and there and just packing up your shit and going. Who cares if it's awkward? It's not, it's about you at the end of the day. Like you have to take care of yourself and you have to look out for yourself.
Yes.
So that's number 1. That's a long-winded number 1.
That's really good. Yeah.
Number 2 is please use protection. And that's the other thing too. I'm really excited for birth control for guys to come out because you know, I have a lot of friends that use birth control, but for me personally, it turns me into some like psycho crazy person.
Same with my friends.
Yeah, like the thing is like, you guys could already tell I'm already like loud and like, you know. Now imagine that times like 500. That's very hard to deal with. Like that is unbearable. Like I can't even put up with myself. And the thing is like, I know it's because I'm trying to deform the way that my body is supposed to work. That is why I use condoms now. No more birth control for me. It just doesn't work out for me.
It's not good for your body. It's changing your hormones.
It does change your hormones a lot, and it's actually not very natural. And I'm trying to be a little bit more natural when it comes to things now.
No, for sure.
And with this, like, honestly, you guys are gonna try this brand out if you haven't already, and you're gonna thank me because this is the shit.
We're gonna try. I'm gonna try.
However, if birth control doesn't affect you that much, then like, you know, good for you. But when birth control for men comes out, y'all already know. It's, you know,
we're on it.
Like, we're gonna be on it. Maybe we'll see. But I would also feel bad if it like changes a lot of their body composition and whatnot.
Yeah,
you know,
why
honestly, this
just use that.
Like
use the condom.
That's number 2.
Yeah.
Number 3. Normalize this kind of conversation. Like this is probably the biggest takeaway that I feel like everybody should have. You know, it's like just be normal about talking about sex. Like if people think it's fucking weird, it's because it's not normalized yet.
Yeah.
And so just like be very casual about the conversation. And,
Mhm.
I know a lot of you guys probably have these conversations with very particular people in your lives,
Yeah.
as do I. But, what if you can have it with like everybody? Like,
Yeah.
just,
And we just learn from each other.
yeah, just learn from each other.
Yeah.
And I think that's the best way to go. And
Mhm.
then final thing. Sorry.
Bonus.
One more. If you end up getting tested positive for herpes, do not freak the fuck out.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm. It's very common.
it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
I had to learn that myself too.
Mm.
And it's okay. And I'm not fucking disgusting for having it. Like
Yeah.
a lot of people have it and it's fine.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
but also too, just to alleviate cold sores and stuff like that, meditate, sleep, and eat very healthy, take care of your body, and you will not get cold sores. I
There you
was
go.
really stressed out with like, everything going on, especially in the United States. I was
Yeah.
stressed. And then it came out of nowhere, and it just happens, and it's very common. So anyway, those are the 4 takeaways. Thank you so much for
Thank
having
you. Yeah, that was amazing. And where can the audience find you?
Oh, so you guys can add me on Facebook. So it's facebook.com/Vivian X Teresa. As well as my Instagram. It's at Vivian X Teresa. So you can find me there. I'm also coming out with a podcast where we will be
Yes.
talking about sex and a ton of other taboo things. And it's called The Fake Hippie. And it is sponsored by BYOB Revolt. And so they're basically a company that really strives to break the mold of the corporate world, and just to be your own boss and really cool stuff like that. And so they're actually sponsoring the podcast. And so that's going to come out in 2021. So be on the lookout for that, you guys.
Yeah.
And
That's amazing. Yeah, we're so looking forward to that because I know you're like such a cool person who are willing to be vulnerable and open about all types of topics that is so important to address. So we're just like so grateful to have you here today.
Oh, well, I'm so grateful for you, and thank you so much for just creating this platform. And I think
Thank
it's
you.
it's such an amazing platform to have different walks of life just
Yeah.
showcase our experiences, learn
Mhm.
from one another, and that's what we have to do, right? Regardless of topic. So yeah,
Yeah,
thank you so much.
exactly. Thank you, guys. We'll
Thank you,
see you
everybody,
next
for watching.
week.
Appreciate you so much, and talk soon.
Take care. Bye now.
Bye.